Bloody Mary, the woman in the mirror, the real story. Bloody Mary may have been inspired by England's infamous Tudor Queen Mary I. She is said to manifest as a murderous spirit in the mirror whenever her name is chanted. It's said that Bloody Mary can be called upon with little effort. It's as simple as standing in front of a mirror in a darkened bathroom and repeating her name 13 times. A chorus of Bloody Marys is chanted. Then, if everything goes as planned, a female ghost should materialize in the reflection. There have been depictions of Bloody Mary both alone and with a dead infant in her arms. According to lore, she frequently does nothing but stare. On rare occasions, however, she will leap from the window and scratch or even kill her summoner. Can we pin the myth of Bloody Mary on a real person? Who is that, if anyone? Even if the legend of Bloody Mary is made up, there are historical figures who could be the inspiration for the drink. Queen Mary I of England, also known as Bloody Mary due to a long-standing and derogatory nickname, is among them, as are a murderous Hungarian noblewoman and a wicked witch who killed children. The Queen, who was known as Bloody Mary, has been linked by some to the origins of the legend surrounding the drink. Bloody Mary was the nickname given to Queen Mary I of England after she was accused of being responsible for the deaths of approximately 280 Protestants. Mary Tudor was born to Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon at the Greenwich Palace in London, England on February 18, 1516. She was widely considered an unlikely candidate for the role of queen, let alone a bloody one. Mary's father spent their entire childhood trying to ensure a male heir. True, Henry's desire for a son had a profound impact on Mary's childhood. While Mary was still a teenager, her father caused a scandal by announcing his intention to marry Anne Boleyn and thereby ending his marriage to Mary's mother, who had previously been married to his brother. He separated from Catherine, wed Anne, and led the English people to abandon the Catholic Church in favour of his new Church of England. Mary was declared illegitimate, demoted from princess to lady, and taken from her mother, all in accordance with the Smithsonian Magazine. She flat out rejected the fact that her parents' marriage was outlawed or that her father was the head of the Church of England. Mary saw her dad go through several marriages over the years. He then wed Jane Seymour, who also died during childbirth, after having executed Anne Boleyn. Henry's fourth marriage, to Anne of Cleves, ended in divorce, and his fifth, to Catherine Howard, ended in her execution for fabricated reasons. Of Henry's 6 wives, only Catherine Parr survived him. What mattered to Henry, however, was that he had succeeded. Edward VI, Jane Seymour's son, was born. 6 years into his reign, Edward VI died, and he did what he could to make sure his Protestant cousin, Lady Jane Grey, took over. In 1553, however, Mary took advantage of the situation and marched her army into London. She became queen after a popular uprising that led to the deposition of her rival, Lady Jane Grey. However, it was during her reign as queen that Mary I earned the nickname Bloody Mary. The Bloody Mary, myth or reality? What role the Queen plays in this unsettling myth? In her role as monarch, one of Mary's top priorities was reconverting England back to the Catholic Church. She wed King Philip II of Spain, put down a Protestant uprising, and undid many anti-Catholic measures instituted by her father and half-brother. In 1555, she took it a step further by reinstating a law known as Heretico Comburendo, which mandated the public stoning and burning to death of heretics. Mary reportedly wanted the executions to be a short, sharp shock that would prompt Protestants to return to the Catholic Church, as reported by the Smithsonian Institution. She told her advisors that a few executions would be enough, and that they should be carried out so used that the people might well perceive them not to be condemned without just occasion, whereby they shall both understand the truth and beware to do the like. But the Protestants were unmoved. Almost 300 of them were burned to death at Mary's order over the course of 3 years, from 1555 until her death in 1558. Thomas Cranmer, the Archbishop of Canterbury, along with Bishops Hugh Latimer and Nicholas Ridley, were just a few of the high-profile religious leaders among the many ordinary, mostly poor, citizens who lost their lives. John Foxe, a Protestant, recorded in great detail the deaths of the Protestants, as noted by historians. The Acts and Monuments, also known as Fox's Book of Martyrs, was published in 1563 and chronicled the lives and deaths of Protestant martyrs from around the world. Then they brought a flaming faggot and placed it before Dr. Fox described the brutal executions of Ridley and Latimer as Ridley's feat. To whom M. Latimer said, "Be of good comfort, M. Astor, Ridley, and play the man. We shall this day lyght such a candle by God's grace in England, as, I trust, shall never be put out." Mary's persecution of Protestants had far-reaching consequences. As a result of her tragic end, Mary I became known as Bloody Mary. Still, that's not all that has people ascribing Queen Mary I to the mythical Bloody Mary. Queen Mary's unfortunate pregnancy has alleged people who claim to have seen Bloody Mary in the mirror usually describe the ghost as pregnant or on the lookout for a child. In some tellings of the legend, the summoner can insult Bloody Mary by saying, "I stole your baby" or "I killed your baby." Queen Mary I had good reason to find this refrain irritating. Mary was focused on more than just sacrificing Protestants on the altar. Mary, who was 37 when she became queen, was eager to have a child during her reign. However, an unusual turn of events occurred. Mary's due date came and went without a child, even though she announced her pregnancy just 2 months after marrying Philip and looked pregnant by every conceivable measure. As reported by Refinery 29, whispers circulated in the French court that Mary had been delivered of a mole, or lump of flesh. Perhaps she suffered from a molar pregnancy, also known as a hydatidiform mole. Mary, who was 42 when she passed away in 1558, most likely from uterine or ovarian cancer, never had any children. As a result, Elizabeth, her Protestant half-sister, ascended to the throne and permanently established the Protestant faith in England. In the meantime, Mary's detractors promoted the name Bloody Mary for her. Although her father had ordered the deaths of as many as 72,000 of his subjects and her sister went on to hang, draw, and quarter 183 Catholics, Mary was the only one deemed bloody by the Smithsonian. This may have been due to the fact that she was a Catholic queen ruling a predominantly Protestant country, or it may have been the result of sexism. Mary was associated with the urban legend in either case because of the name Bloody Mary. However, the Bloody Mary legend may also have been influenced by 2 other women. Alternative origins of the Bloody Mary. Some have speculated that the story of Bloody Mary was inspired by not only Queen Mary I of England, but also by 2 other prominent women. The first is the enigmatic witch Mary Worth, and the second is the Hungarian noblewoman Elizabeth Bathory, who allegedly murdered hundreds of young women. Whether or not Mary Worth even existed is unknown, let alone specifics about her life. According to Haunted Rooms, she was a witch who cast a spell on children, abducted them, killed them, and drank their blood to keep herself young. People in her hometown apparently found out about it, and as a result, they burned her alive after tying her to a stake. Then Mary Worth yelled that she would haunt them forever if they ever spoke her name in front of a mirror. The Lake County Journal, on the other hand, claims that Mary Worth was a native of Wadsworth, Illinois and participated in the Reverse Underground Railroad. According to Bob Jensen, leader of the Lake County Ghostland Society and paranormal investigator, she would bring in slaves under false pretenses to send them back down south and make some money. This is according to an article in the Lake County Journal. Jensen detailed how Mary Worth tortured and killed runaway slaves as part of her witchy rituals. When word got out, the townsfolk either burned her at the stake or lynched her to death. It's unclear whether Mary Worth even existed, but Elizabeth Bathory did. She was a Hungarian noblewoman who was accused of killing at least 80 young women between 1590 and 1610. It was said that she sewed their mouths shut, beat them with clubs, and burned them with hot irons as part of their sickening torture. According to legend, she even took a bath in their blood to keep her youthful appearance intact. One of the witnesses at Bathory's trial testified that they had seen a diary in which the serial killer kept detailed accounts of her victims. Instead of 80 names, there were actually 650 on the list. This supports the idea that Bathory could be Bloody Mary. Still, her supporters say the king owed her late husband money, so they say the charges against her are false. Whatever the case may be, Bloody Mary's true identity remains a mystery. Possible inspiration for the legend comes from Queen Mary I, the actual Bloody Mary, or from other possible candidates like Mary Worth or Elizabeth Bathory. In any case, Bloody Mary is a part of one of the longest-lived urban legends.